Welcome to the NanoCap podcast. I'm your host, Will Chernlin, and I'm excited to have you join me on this journey through the world of NanoCap companies. For the past decade, I've talked to thousands of business owners across various industries. It's been an enlightening experience revealing the vast tapestries of entrepreneurship and innovation that thrives beneath the surface of mainstream media coverage. Each week, I will interview different leaders of NanoCap publicly traded companies to learn about their history, what they do now, and their future. As a reminder, none of this information is financial advice, and it is all for entertainment purposes only. Let's start this week's episode. Hi, everyone. This week we have Lior Shaltiel, CEO of NurExone, Biologic. It's on the Toronto Stock Exchange under stock ticker NRX. NurExone Biologic is a publicly traded biopharmaceutical company that develops exosome-based regenerative therapies for traumatic central nervous system injuries. Lior, thanks for coming on the show.
Happy to be here, Will. Thank you.
So I was looking through your LinkedIn like I do with almost all of my guests, and I was curious from what I saw. You spent obviously a lot of time in academia. You are a doctor after all. But then kind of what made you actually get out of academia? Because there's a lot of people who could spend their whole career in the labs researching things. What made you want to jump into the business side of things?
So I'm not actually left academia. I'm some special creature combining both. Definitely my focus is industry. Since I finished my PhD, I was working always in the industry. But for the fun part, I'm also leading academically a very special program as part of the Hebrew University Business School called Biomed MBA to help scientists and medical team, doctors to understand better the business as part of MBA program, a second degree in business administration. So I'm also currently involved with academia, but not as you think, like proper research, more on teaching.
And so, tell me about bridging that gap. Before NurExone, you were like a VP partner at a boutique Chinese investment firm, kind of, again, bridging that gap between people who know business and then people who need to know actual biotech. How did you become that person from you going to school? Did you ever get a business degree, or how did you kind of become the person who can basically be the bridge between the two?
So the story is actually on myself. When I returned to Israel with a PhD and I started to work in the industry, I understood that I was a very good scientist. I was educated to become a scientist, to think very wide but very deep into a certain space. Like in my case, we specialize in drug delivery system. Before it was liposomes, now it's exosome-based therapy. And then I understood that in order to be a manager, in order to lead companies, I need some business orientation, data and information and knowledge. And I said, okay, if it's not, and that was 2014. Okay. And I said to myself, okay, I'm going to search for an MBA for myself. But was nothing that specialized in the very challenging life or field of biotech. Biotech is a very strange creature of having years of R&D, no sales, a lot of dream companies with a lot of potential. Some of them become, huge monsters, and some of them got eaten by a bigger fish, like bigger pharmaceutical. So you need to have very, very talented people that understand very good science and business. And this is what I decided to do, to actually build my own MBA at the Hebrew University. That was 2016 that we opened the first cohort. Now we celebrate 10 years there.
Wow.
And with hundreds of alumni. And the true story is that I established it and I become the student inside for the first year, just to be like manager undercover, to see that everything works, that my tutor that I select myself are doing the job. And it was amazing. It was amazing to take it as a, as a student, and take of course the exam and everything, and that's the real story about it. And since then there is a new program at the Hebrew University with more and more alumni.
And so you're doing something like, it seems like as fulfilling, as exciting, creating almost like a whole new curriculum for this kind of place that you've discovered that you're kind of one of the first movers there. So, and between that, and then also the different companies you saw at the boutique Chinese investment firms, plus your decades of research you've seen in the lab, what about NurExone made it that you said, hey, this is actually where I want to spend the majority of my time and energy? This is something that's a total breakthrough. How did you first kind of hear about the technology? Were you reading through papers and you heard about it? You said, I need to go after this. Did you figure it out yourself? Or how did the idea first come about? And then how did the idea go from an idea to you actually saying, hey, we need to start a business, raise money, and go public?
Oh, no, so there are several questions here in one sentence.
Go
That's
ahead.
fine. I will try to answer everything. So regarding the Chinese, listen, this is a classic example between money that needs to meet potential investment, okay? But there is a gap between of due diligence. What is a good technology and what is not a good technology? And what it was unique about the Chinese fund that I work as a partner there, that they specialize in a very late stage pharmaceutical. So they prefer to pay a lot, but to have less risk. Okay, that's the one story. But in Israel, there are very few late stage pharmaceutical. What is so unique about Israel and Israeli mentality, what we call the startup nation, is that many very young companies, a lot of innovation that needs the first small checks, okay, not the large check, small checks to get and de-risk further the investment as they go into clinical studies. NurExone was very unique for me when I was approached by Yoram Drucker, who's currently the active chairman of the company and the founder of the company. He took this innovation from the Tel Aviv University and the Technion to professors that work together, saw the potential of the technology, and he showed me this technology and said, listen, I'm searching for a CEO. What do you think about this technology? You are specialized in drug delivery system. When I saw these results, I was really impressed. I was really impressed because, as you remember, I told you that I specialize in drug delivery system. And for the first time, I saw not only drug delivery system, exosomes have actually therapeutic effect. So it's a combination between bringing API to a certain place and also helping in the certain place to help and help and healing what is damaged. And I said, if this is true, that's the ultimate drug delivery system, because it's crossed the blood barrier. You can give it allogeneic, meaning one batch. It's not personal medicine. Will reduce dramatically the cost of this biotech approach. It's not toxic. It's going directly to inflammation without engineering the exosomes. So a lot of benefits that in the liposome, which is completely artificial drug delivery system made by human, you need to engineer. You need to engineer every part of it. And now you get it free of charge from nature. And now you can actually bring it to a proper platform. This is exactly what NerExone did to deliver specific type of API. We are specialized in siRNA. And the results in the spinal cord injury was very, very promising, because it's one of the hardest models to show proper regeneration of neurons. It's showing, taking a mouse, cut the spinal cord injury, ask if after the cut I can connect them and show functional recovery. That's a game changer. And from that, it's translated to more models, to more indications. We have more results in optic nerve, more results in facial nerves. So I'm more and more confident that this approach is more holistic approach for any central nervous system injuries.
Yeah, no, Ian, you mentioned the mice. You were one of the first LinkedIn profiles I've seen that someone got endorsed for transgenic mice, which is something that you don't see often people get endorsed for. So, no, you've definitely done your experience and such. And so,
that's another story. That was part of my PhD. I took actually, it was many years ago. So I took a sequence, and my supervisor asked me, listen, this is a gene. I would like to downregulate it in a mice. Please prepare the strategy and execute. So from a paper of gene, I got a mouse, which is conditionally, it's called LOX-P sites, conditional knockdown. And that was then, like 20 years ago, the top of the technology. Now we have CRISPR and we have other technology, but to start something and create something that was not there, it's a mouse with some kind of genetically modified chromosomes made by me. That's I think this was my challenge, and I liked it. Yeah.
No, it's very cool. So we've danced around it a little bit, but exactly in your own words, what is NurExone and what is the extra-10?
What is NurExone? Exactly as you said, the potential here is very strong exosomes from a very good source of cells, which is bone marrow. We have a master cell bank that owned by our subsidiary in the US, and this allows us to bring batch-to-batch consistency. We are keeping the highest quality as it should be as a pharmaceutical company to produce those exosomes. We have very strong IP portfolio covering all aspects of the technology, the API, the siRNA, meaning the loading, how we produce the exosomes. So it's a very strong technology platform, and this can be utilized to many indications. And the beauty about it is that the first product, we have already 3 different indications. Of course, as a small company, the advice from a mentor will be, Lior, please stay focused. You have a limited resources, stay focused. Each indication like that can be millions of dollars to develop clinically. So we have a challenge, which indication to go first. So that's, for me, it's actually a privilege, because it's not so easy to have so many indications in one product.
No, for sure, that seems to be almost every biotech company I talk to, that they have kind of one solution to a problem that they want to spend like 90-95% of their time on, but they can't help themselves that it also solves 3 other things. And so somewhere down the line, they would love to look into it, but obviously, like you said, focus is everything.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about how the actual drug works from an administration point of view. You said it goes locally into the spine. So is this something where someone has a spinal injury and they would come to use, if everything went to plan, they would come and get a shot every quarter for the rest of their life moving forward? Does it eventually get solved? Tell me a little bit more about it.
So first of all, we need to define better which type of spinal cord injury we are talking. Okay. We have 2 different. We have the acute phase. Let's say you are now entered to your car. Unfortunately, you have accident. You don't feel the legs. You have like a gap, a time window of 2 weeks. Okay, that in this case it's called acute spinal cord injury. Okay, in this case you have some kind of plasticity in the system to recover some of the damage that happened to your spinal cord injury. And NurExone going to the acute phase. We are not going to a patient that is in a chronic phase, on a wheelchair, 15 years, and lost most of his neurons already. So this is a different challenge. This is much more challenge to do. But let's start to stop accumulate more and more chronic. Okay, that's first. So in our vision, we are talking about a very short time limit of 2 to 4 injections. We show it already in intranasal model, but for the clinical purposes, we will go to intrathecal directly to the spinal cord fluid, CSF. And that goes from this injection, they go directly to the injury site. Why? Because the exosomes are, one of the nature is to go to inflammation. They're going from, this is a communication tool between one cell to another, from healthy tissue to a damaged tissue. So they search for a flag called inflammation. And where you have inflammation, where you have the injury. So they accumulate there, reduce the inflammation, and help regeneration with their properties, other properties, together with the siRNA.
And correct me if I'm wrong, also it's universal too. It doesn't have to be customized to a specific patient to make sure that their body accepts it. It just works on everyone, correct?
Correct. And the word for that in more a scientific way is allogeneic. This is allogeneic approach, meaning it's not a personal approach. It's not that I'm taking from Will the blood and try to get his own exosomes. I can treat different patients with one a specific exosome source that we have. More than that, the rats that we use now, we use with exosome from human. So it's also cross species.
Oh, wow.
So see how strong is it.
So what's next? As you're going through the different trials and such like that, when's your next trial? What's the news you hope, and kind of what does the next 2 to 5 years look like if everything kind of goes as planned and perfectly?
So there you need to split it to several things, several milestones. First of all, financially, we are going direction of the US, more the US. We are at the moment Canadian company, but we already started our transition into moving to the major stock exchange in the US. So working closely with several bankers, and I believe that we will have more announcement with it on this in the coming months. That's first. So it will bring us to more eyeballs, more investors. It's more also fit better to the biotech. Seeing the majority of the biotech in the world is held in the US, specifically on NASDAQ. Second, we are talking about the commercial opportunity of producing exosomes in the US. And this is a huge shift happened in July 2025 with the new legislation in Florida to allow the exosomes and cells without full FDA as a treatment to give to patients. And that's a huge opportunity for NurExone because this is what we actually use as a drug substance. So our ultimate exosomes that we use can be sold for the increased demands for those activity in the US, but also out of the US. Those treatments are done in Mexico, Philippines, and other countries, and NurExone can be the answer for that. Actually, Exotope, this is the US company that will produce the drug substance, which we are fully owned. And down the third, and I think the most important one, because this is one of the reasons that we established NurExone, is bring XOP10, our lead drug, into a clinical trial. And then at least one in ophthalmology, in spinal cord injury, or even both, okay, depend on the set. Don't forget that we have orphan drug designation. So our trials will be quite small. We are talking about first trial, less than 10 or even 10 patients. It's very small. So we will be able to produce relatively fast results and evidence that hopefully it works.
Is it tough to find patients for the trials where you kind of have to rush in there, where something's happened to them traumatic and you only got a couple weeks to rush in there kind of thing? Is that why part of the reason why you got orphan drug designation and such?
Yeah, orphan drug designation is measured, first of all, on the measure of the technology and the number of patients that you have in the US.
Okay.
In the US or Europe, we have also in Europe, but in Europe you have certain amount of patients. It's around 25,000 a year, new patients, spinal cord injury. And in this case, what tough there, because we are talking about the acute, they are very severe injured. So they will be with a lot of morphine. Then you need some kind of waiver from the family. It's hard to handle it, but still we have a window to operate, and our drug can operate even after 72 hours from the injury. And the challenge here is to find strong clinical centers that have together rehabilitation, because this is the key here. If you can move a patient which is severely wounded, okay, move him faster into the rehabilitation unit, that's huge beneficial, also benefits for the from the hospital point of view, because it's released bad in the trauma center and the trauma department, and it's help the patients to be in a better setting to his recover. So that's what we want to see, and this is why we would focus on several large hospitals with a rehabilitation in the US and also in Israel.
So as we wrap up here, what gets you excited about NurExone? What makes you get up in the morning? Why is this what you're doing? Why is this your mission?
Two things, which I said right from the beginning to Yoram. First of all, the technology looks amazing. I want to prove it with my two hands that it can bring to the clinics and show the results. That's first mission and the most important one. Second, from the business point of view, I remember we discussed the MBA, how to finance, how biotech will change with the time, and because the last 5 years were very bad for the sector, okay? Very hard to raise funds now. People are going more to the AI, and there is a lot of challenge in this field, although everybody understands if there is no investment, there will not be any new drugs. So our chance to live longer and to be healthier will reduce. So it's just a matter of time. So when I entered to NurExone, I had a mission to try to think out of the box how to finance a biotech for a long time. And NurExone is a very challenging company because we're taking a new modality, exosomes, considered biologics, and take it to the FDA approval. It's a long process. So I use NurExone as a case study, and my dream is maybe to use it as a case study in Harvard Business School, how to finance biotech. Now I finance NurExone. The last 5 years, we raised $20 million. Okay, publicly $20 million. I don't see that a lot of example of preclinical companies that raise so much money. Okay, so I do think that if you do it appropriately, because it's very risky to go public very early, and there is a chance that we can provide a new approach beside the VC money. I don't think that biotech need to be 100% based on a venture capitalist. And this is a very provocative saying, but I do think without an alternative, like in any field, if you don't have a competition and if you always think one way, okay, it will fail in the end, because there are huge opportunity there and a lot of technology that will not get funded, okay? So you always need to think about different, and the results in the end is one. Do you have the cash to run it or not? Because there are also examples that you get VC money in the first, but the VC money gone and you cannot raise anymore. So the risk is there.
100%. So if people want to learn a little bit more about NurExone and what you all are doing, where should I send my audience?
We're very active. So I don't think they can miss us, but if you still haven't heard about us, we have a new website. We are very active with close to 5,000 followers on LinkedIn. We have a Facebook, if you are a bit older and you like Facebook approach. We have YouTube channel. You are happy to join our newsletter monthly newsletter. We don't want to spam you, but if you want really to follow on a monthly basis what we do, and we have a lot of activity every month, you can join us. Just go to the website, www.NRX, NurExone.com, and you will be able to sign to the newsletter. So that's my tip for the audience.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. And also just thank you so much for the different people's lives that you're saved and will save in the future. Thanks again.
Thank you, Will. Bye.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not provide financial, legal, or any other advice. The information is not investment advice or any offer to buy or sell any securities or to make any investment. The views expressed by the guests are their own, and any reference to third-party products, services, or information does not constitute an endorsement, therefore, by NanoCap Podcast or its affiliates. The NanoCap Podcast express disclaims all liability for any individual's use of the information presented in this